Oh, our next Dirksen Award for coverage of Congress goes to the Boston Globe Washington Bureau, not just one person, which produced a 19-part series on the ways in which Washington was not functioning, the reasons for it, and then proposed solutions. Michael Kranish, rhymes with vanish, and I found out he used to run a magic store here in Washington, and he would make things vanish. Michael is the deputy chief of the Boston Globe's Washington Bureau, and with his colleagues will join us now. But I just want to say one thing. For the Dirksen Award, they gave us 3 entries. And then all of a sudden, we got an email from Bob Meyer who says, there are 19 entries. And so I was like, oh my God, we got to read 19 pieces? But they were fantastic and certainly worthy of the Dirksen Award. So Michael is going to accept the award, but I also want to bring up Christopher Rowland, Matt Viser, Noah Bierman, Tracy Jan, and Bryan Bender. Oh, there they are, just like magic. I think, nope, that's for David.
Okay. Yours.
There you go.
Okay.
They get a lot of money, too.
Thank you. I'll just hold on to these. Use them up. Okay. Many years ago, a reporter walked into a bureau of the Boston Globe, and on the wall was a cartoon from the New Yorker magazine, and it was a picture of an artist with a knife in his hand, and he was raising it to his ear, and in the corner there was a Van Gogh character, and the Van Gogh character said, "It's been done." And the point of that story, as I took it as a reporter walking into a bureau, was that you need to be original. You need to find stories that have not been told before and tell them in an original way. And that's what we tried to do with this series. Brian McGrory, the editor of the Boston Globe, came to Washington around this time last year and said we want to do a series of stories about why Washington is broken. Not just that it is broken, but tell us the stories behind why it's broken. And our deputy managing editor, Mark Morrow, who's a genius of narrative, talked about, and he reminded me today of the maxim that you want to not just tell someone that Antarctica is cold, but make them feel cold. So how do you tell the story of Washington being broken in a different way, in a new way? And what we came upon was basically the idea of writing a series of chapters in a narrative fashion that would take you behind the scenes and tell you in a way that hopefully you hadn't understood before why Washington was broken. So we had wonderful support, and also from Christine Chinland, the managing editor of the Boston Globe. So the idea was to take the broadest possible canvas, and we were given those valuable luxuries that reporters seek, which is time, space, and support. Many of these stories took a month, and we were given that time to do this while we're also doing our job as daily journalists. So let me give you a couple of examples. We have 6 reporters who were named in this, so I'll give you an example from each reporter. Tracy Jan took us to North Carolina to show us the impact of redistricting as seen through the eyes of a particular district that really lets you understand the impact of what was going on there. Matt Viser told the story of a super conservative Kansas congressional district, which helped you much better understand the impetus of the Tea Party and why people feel the way they do and want to stop certain things from being done. Noah Bierman told how Republicans posed more than 1,000 questions to the nominee for the Environmental Protection Agency administrator. In my story, I sought to show the broken nature of Washington as seen through the eyes of Bob Dole, who I'd covered many years ago when he was the Senate leader, and he was then fighting for the passage of a disabilities treaty based on a Disabilities Act that he had helped pass when he was the leader. So I talked with him and tried to tell a narrative of how a seemingly uncontroversial piece of legislation, in fact, in the end was killed. Chris Rowland reported on how the Federal Election Commission practically was designed to be dysfunctional, and Bryan Bender told us how think tanks have turned into hyper-partisan operations. In all, as was mentioned, the series ran 19 parts, including a final installment where we tried not just to talk about problems, but solutions, where we went around the country and also to London to talk about how things are done differently and how those lessons might be applied. And in the end, this was published also as an ebook. So thank you so much to the National Press Foundation for the recognition of this work. Thank you.